Hi, everyone. Welcome to Happy to See Me, the podcast that puts a spotlight on the overlooked and underestimated. I'm Erika Casupanan, and this week I am speaking with Neda Kalantar. But first, I love to start each episode talking about something that I was happy to see this week. So it is now early December. It is holiday party time. I'm running into a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time. I went to the Second City, which is this comedy theater and comedy school in Toronto, and I got to see some of my old instructors on stage as performers, and actually went to the show with one of my best friends who I met through taking Second City classes. Happy to tell that story on a future podcast, how I met some of my best friends through online Zoom classes during the pandemic. But that was a nice moment to be with a friend who I had met through online classes, seeing an instructor who taught us in online classes, and even another instructor who I met through in-person classes. And it was like a nice reminder of how far I'd come. Also this week, I went to the holiday party for the public relations agency I worked at as an intern, and then I got hired on and I had my first quote-unquote big girl job, which I worked at for 5 years in my early 20s. And it was so weirdly nice to go to this holiday party where they invite press and their clients, and it's more like an industry party. And to meet all of these people who I first met when I was like a 22-year-old intern, and to see how they're doing and to hear about how they had been rooting for me over the last few years. This holiday party, it's always meant to be like an industry networking type of party. And I remember being like 22, didn't really understand networking, going to these parties, being nervous, feeling like, okay, I really have to perform. I'd never really pictured a future where I would then be invited as like a member of the industry and to go back, and it's kind of like a homecoming. So it was really a nice reminder of how far I've come. And I think that as we get to the end of the year, it's really a natural time for that self-reflection and to look back on the year. And yes, I think that every year has ups and downs and we should reflect on the year. But I also think it's a good time to challenge ourselves to go back and think about the last 2 years, the last 5 years, the last 10 years. Because when you look at that big amount of time, I think that we've all really come so far and we've all grown in ways that we couldn't even expect. And those past versions of ourselves, looking forward at where we're all at now, I'm sure that there are things that we have done since then that past version would have never anticipated and would be so proud of. So I suggest as we do our end of the year reflections, let's think back to the last few years too and celebrate all of the wins and all of the ways that we've grown in unexpected ways. So what I was happy to see this week were many blasts from the past. And actually, this episode is like a blast from the past. This episode is a really special one. One, because I get to speak to my friend Neda. And two, Neda is the first returning guest I have had on the podcast. I had Neda on my show back in 2023 during season 1 of the podcast. She was one of my first guests that I had on the show. I was so pumped at the time that Neda, who is my favorite Big Brother Canada player, was willing to come on my show, even though she hadn't done interviews for years. And we had a really vulnerable conversation about reality TV and what it was like for her in terms of her mental health and dealing with all of the scrutiny and the fan feedback after she returned for her second season of Big Brother Canada. And on that podcast, she said that she didn't think she was going to do reality TV again. So fast forward to today. And now I am interviewing Neda as a reality TV champion. So Neda has just won season 2 of the Traitors Canada, and I am so proud of her. We talk about what made her decide to return for reality TV, what it was like preparing for her third reality TV show. We talk about her strategy, and we talk about all of the ways she has grown since her last time on reality TV. And honestly, such a huge difference in her energy talking to her today versus the last time I talked to her a few years ago. I am so proud of her. So definitely listen to this episode and go back and listen to our interview from 2023 so you can hear about how much Neda has grown. As someone who is a fan and a friend, I am so excited about this interview. Make sure you share this with anybody who is a reality TV fan. But why don't we just get into it? Here is my interview with Neda Kalantar. I hope you enjoy it. It is so good to see you again. Welcome back to the podcast.
It's almost like I saw you last week.
I know, right? I can go months without seeing you and then I'll see you again. I'm like, oh, it's like no time has passed. I am so excited to have you here because fun fact, you are the very first returning guest I've had on the show. You are the first person that I've actually invited back to the podcast.
What a privilege.
I mean, the privilege is all mine. I was so happy to have you the first time around and now to have you back. So now on the podcast, I like to start off by asking people if they have ever felt overlooked or underestimated?
Oh, damn. Okay, starting it off heavy.
I know. Why not just get into it? It's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
Okay. Overlooked or underestimated? Like in life or like these games?
In anywhere. Life, games, anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like definitely in both. Like when I first played Big Brother, I went into it like I think in life I usually am a little underestimated, so I use that to my advantage going into Big Brother the first time I played. It worked for me there. So then I was like, might as well do it on Traitors again.
Okay, when you were on the podcast last, we were talking about your life since reality TV. You had been out of Big Brother Canada for years. You hadn't been doing a lot of interviews. It seemed like reality TV wasn't in your future. So what made you decide to return to reality TV?
I was flip-flopping so hard when I got the call for Traitors. I was like, I don't know. I really don't know. I've just been in such a good space. I'm like, do I really want to disrupt that? I hadn't watched before. My sister's a really big fan, so she always talks about it, but I hadn't actually watched. So as I'm watching it, I just started really falling in love with the show. And I love the strategic element of it. Reality TV itself, that's not for me, but the strategic like games, those I love. So I just fell in love with the game. But even up until like a week before, I'm like, should I do it? I don't know.
So then you had just signed up. You're like, okay, I guess I'm just doing this now.
Yes, but I'm like, maybe I can back out. My sister's like, just go.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Since we're people who have been on reality TV before, it's like, when you go on a reality show, you think about the game, but then you are also aware of all of the other stuff around it, whether it's the audience perception, the mental recovery time. Were you thinking about all the other stuff, or were you just thinking, let me just play the game?
Right. Yeah, no, I definitely took everything into consideration. The game, Traitors, it's very quick. It's like only about 2 weeks that you're filming for, whereas like Big Brother, it's like 70 days. So the recovery period's definitely a lot longer. And then the Traitors, it's one of the most viewed TV shows. But the online fandom is not as intense as Big Brother has because, there isn't live feeds. It's not airing 3 times a week. So fans are just a bit more chill, which actually made me decide to do it more because I'm like, I don't think they're going to be as intense as Big Brother fans are. I love Big Brother fans. Don't get me wrong. Please don't DM me. But yeah, I was taking those definitely into consideration. I just seen my Traitors was like a quick, fun thing to do during the summer. I wanted to get out of Paris during the Olympics, so it did line up pretty perfectly.
I know. I feel like even when I got the call for Traitors, I'm like, oh, it's like short. And yeah, even though there is definitely a growing fan base, it's still a relatively new show. So it's not like you have the same intensity of the people who have so much history to compare each show to. It seems like people are still discovering it and figuring it out. So it's like the perfect time to slide in there and play.
Yeah, I also feel like with Big Brother, because of live feeds and because it airs so much, the fans, and I say this because I used to be a fan, but you create like a parasocial relationship with the people that are playing because you're watching them 20. You can watch them sleep if you want. Whereas Traitors, it's very much more like, okay, I'm just viewing the show 1 time a week. It's a game. I'm seeing it as a game. I don't think the bonds are that intense between fans and the viewers. I mean, maybe it'll change in the future, but I think just because of the nature of the show, it's not as intense.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think especially when you're like a returning reality TV person, it's like people are just excited to see you again. And I think especially you, people were so excited to see you again.
I did not think people would be excited. I know while we were in the house, the cast leaked. So after I got out, they told us, oh, like it leaked, just, obviously you can't say anything. But I was like so nervous to go and see what the fan response was to the leak. But I'm like, oh, it's like pretty positive. This is weird.
Oh my gosh. Because the last time you were on the podcast, you were talking about how on your 2 times on Big Brother, you felt like everybody hated you, which I can totally see how you felt that. But I was always a fan of you on Big Brother. So I was like, Neda, I don't hate you. So was it truly a surprise to you that people were excited to see you back?
Yeah, no, I'm shocked. Even like the reception I've gotten since the show's aired, I'm very grateful for it.
I was not surprised at all that people were excited to see you come back. I was not surprised at all to see how excited people were to see you finally get the win.
It was a long time coming.
Something that a lot of people were talking about during your time on the show and even after were your strategy notebooks and your 500 pages of notes that you have them with you. Oh my God. So your 500 pages of notes where you wrote down the different strategies. Is this something that you always do to prepare for anything? Like, did you prepare like this for Big Brother? Do you prepare like this for everything you do in life? Or was it specific to the Traitors?
Okay, it was 50 pages. It wasn't 500. I over-exaggerated a little bit. But no, even when I'm like going out on a date, I'm writing pro and con lists. I think that's just who I am. Like I can't go into anything not preparing. To me, I'm shocked that people don't prepare going into these games because I mean, I get it. Though some people just want to go in for fun, but to me, I'm like, it's like taking a final exam and not studying for it. Like, why wouldn't you?
So you prepared like this for Big Brother too?
For the first time I played Big Brother, I prepared so much going into it. Big Brother, I had been watching since I can't remember, was it 8 or 9 years old? The US one. So throughout watching it, I always had like plans in my mind of like, one day I get on there, this is how I'm going to play. But the second time I played, no planning, nothing going into it, and it didn't work for me. So I definitely know the type that needs to plan.
That makes sense. Like when I went on Survivor, I definitely didn't fill 5 notebooks worth of notes, but I remember I would be taking notes. I would be listening to podcasts, watching the show, taking notes. In my mind, I would have mostly the game plan, but then I'm always like, okay, let's see what happens. But for Traitors, I watched the US season and the Australia season, and I was like, okay, let me just like go in and see what happens. And obviously, it didn't work out for me. So maybe the notes thing is what sets you up for success.
I think too, like you went in and there wasn't that many seasons out yet. Because when I went in, there was at least 2 seasons for each international version. So I had more to go off of. Also, you went in as a winner. As soon as people heard I hadn't won Big Brother, even though they didn't like know me from Big Brother, but they're like, oh, did you win? No? Okay. They kind of like wrote me off. Whereas like you won Survivor. So that's like hard to get past.
I was watching you and I was like, how is Neda getting under the radar right now? I'm like, do these people not realize that Neda is one of the most iconic Canadian reality TV personalities? I can say that without hesitation. Just one of the most iconic Big Brother Canada players to ever play. And I'm like, do those people not know? Like, yes, even if you didn't win, if you know Canadian reality TV, people know who you are. Were people recognizing you?
There were 3 people that knew me. There was Kirkland, who immediately first night comes up to me, hey, I've seen you. So immediately I'm like, okay, I gotta watch out for Kirkland. That's scary. I recognized Kevin. Kevin and I had met very briefly at an event like once. So I was like, I think he knows I'm from Big Brother, but I don't think he'd actually like fully watched or anything. And we didn't like know each other. We didn't like follow each other or anything. Kira in the first conclave told me. But then I was like digging around to see if anybody else knew, and nobody else knew. So I was like, this is perfect. Thank God.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I love that you planned for that specific scenario too.
Definitely, because I was like, if not that many people know me, then I can do the whole under the radar game again. I can be unassuming and they can underestimate me. But if there's other Big Brother people on there or people who know me from the show, then I can't do it that much. Whereas like this one, I was able to kind of build up that persona. So when even like Kira, she tried to use Big Brother against me, people just kind of brush it off. And they're like, oh, but the Neda we know, she's like quiet. She's not a threat.
I love being able to play that way. I feel like it set us both up for success. I'm curious, what was on your strategy pages if it was different for you and if people actually did recognize you from Big Brother or if they actually did play Big Brother? How would you have done it differently?
I had different strategies for who from Big Brother was actually on there with me. If it was someone that I could actually align with, it was going to be different. If it was someone that I knew would want me out right away, it would be different. A few people are like, can you just like post for notes? But I'm like, selfishly, no. I'm going to keep these strategies to myself. I don't plan on doing reality TV again, but like just in case, maybe I should just keep it to myself.
Yeah, I mean, you said you didn't want to do reality TV last time we talked, and then now look at you, you're the winner of a show, so...
Yeah, you can't trust anything I say.
It's all lies. So listeners, if you've been sticking around long enough, just know everything that Neda has said is a lie.
I never said it.
I think it is like a tough thing to go in, especially when you were like an underestimated person. Definitely in your first season of Big Brother, you were an underestimated player. Then you came in for your second time around. And at that point, you were a fan favorite. People knew who you were. You played a bit differently. Is there something you learned from the first time you played Big Brother and the second time you played Big Brother that you brought into the Traitors to set you up for success?
Yeah, the second time I had even like been given extra power of like immunity for half the game. So I was like, I need to play really hard, or if I get to the end of Big Brother, no one's gonna vote for me because they're gonna be like, well, what did you do for the first half that you had immunity? So I went in, I had a lot of power and I went in a little too hard. I was like getting people out. So this time I was like, if I am a traitor, if I am given any power, don't play any differently. Like just chill, pretend like you don't have any power. Don't let it get to your head. Just relax.
That's funny. It's like you needed to be humbled a little bit to be ready to come back. Last time we talked, after our conversation, I titled the episode, Neda Lets Go of the Pressure to Prove Herself. So did you feel pressure to prove yourself on the Traitors?
A little bit, but it was more for me. I just didn't want to go in and lose again because in my head, even when I grew up watching the show, I'm like, I'd be so good on there. So I didn't want to go and lose a third time. I don't think I was too nervous about people saying that about me. Oh, like she lost 3 times. But it was definitely more pressure for myself to like prove to me.
That's so interesting because, yeah, you do think about the viewers and the external. Even when I did the Traitors, there was like a little part of me that was thinking all of those people who said I didn't deserve to win Survivor. If I do bad on the Traitors, does this mean they were justified in what they were going to say about me? And then, of course, I was the first one eliminated. And I was like, wait, everything is fine. None of this takes away what I did before. I know I had to learn the lesson of separating how I felt about myself versus what the audience thinks about me.
Also, the way you worked out, you were murdered. So you couldn't even play the game. Like, you know. Chance to like prove anything or show anything.
I know, I was so annoyed. I mean, I'm not like mad at anybody. I'm like, I understand why I would get murdered, but I was like, oh, guys, I was like ready for this. I felt like I could really do it, but
I think they did mess up though murdering you. I really think they messed up murdering you because why wouldn't you keep such a big threat around who's done reality TV, especially if you're in there as a traitor, as a reality TV person, you would keep Erika. She's the winner. You're going to be targeted every time.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I'll at least survive the first night because, again, like I'm the easy shield. You can always blame me, but yeah, it's okay. You know what? I think it was good for me in the long run to have the experience of going out first and then realizing I could win or I could be the first out. And it's totally fine.
Yeah. I mean, if you're not going to win, I guess like being first out, it's like at least you just showed up. You got to get the experience. Because something interesting that I've heard a few people for her season talk about that there was this divide of like the reality TV people versus the civilians. Was it like very, very big in the house? Did that influence the game a lot?
I mean, I was only there for like a minute.
From what you've heard.
So from what I heard, yeah. Yeah. And I definitely felt like when I was there, as soon as we get into the cars and we're driving to the manor, as soon as I got in the car, people were like, oh my God, I recognize you. You're Erika. So I felt like immediately I stuck out. And also because I was on an American show and it's like a thing in Canada.
Survivor at that.
I know.
Not just for we're the biggest shows ever.
I know. Like as soon as I walked in, I was like, ooh, uh-oh. I like really stick out here. So for me individually, I definitely felt that difference. It's not like anyone alienated me or anything, but I definitely felt the difference in my 2 minutes of being in the manor. Did you feel like there was the divide for your season?
No, which is, I was expecting because I had seen a lot of interviews from your guys' season and I was like, the reality thing never came into play. And I was always expecting them to be like, after Michael, John, and Kira left, I was like, oh, now they're going to be expecting like another person from reality TV to be a thing. But it was never a thing.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Because I remember as soon as I walked in to Traitors, I'm like, okay, one of the Traitors has to be me, Kevin, or Kuzi, because that's just like how it goes. But it might be us being reality TV people, and we're like, okay, yeah, this is how it goes.
I think it also helped me that for Kevin and Kuzi, one of them was a traitor. Kevin wasn't a traitor. So like people were like, oh, they wouldn't make another Big Brother person a traitor. That was like a talk in our house. And I think that really helped.
Did you find that on your third time around, lying became easier or did it become harder?
No, this one was actually really hard because on Big Brother, you're not actually lying. Like you have your alliances, maybe at one point when you're going to backstab someone, like then you're lying, but you're like, you stick with your alliance and it is what it is. For this one, you're really like having to pretend you're faithful the entire time. So even though like I would kind of trick myself every morning, I would wake up and I'd pace in my room, like try and type myself up, like, wait, I'm going to get murdered just so I could get into that mindset. It does drain you. And I feel like maybe because it was a shorter amount of time, but I really, really liked this cast. There was no one on there that I really disliked, whereas like Big Brother, you're constantly around each other for 70 days. So, you know, you'd start not liking some people because you're just stuck together for so long. These people I liked, so I felt like more guilty lying to them about it. Like day in, day out, you're pretending like you're something you're not.
Oh, I totally get it. I really liked the Traitors cast I was on too. So it's just like, yeah, you enjoy like hanging out with them in a weird way, you know? It's like doing like these silly little challenges. I think a lot of people think if you do a strategy game like Big Brother or Survivor, lying is just part of the game. And of course, I think everybody lies at some point when you play the game. but it's also realistic for you to be able to get through the game and actually not lie 90% of the time. But like on the Traitors, if you're a traitor, you must be lying like the whole time. When you go to bed, are you like anxious? Are you feeling fine? What are you thinking when you're trying to maintain that lie for the full time and you have that moment to yourself at the end of the day?
There is no moments to yourself. Like literally after the conclave, I would go back to my room. I would sit and write my notes of like what happened in the day, who I had connected well with, who I needed to talk to more the next day. If this person left, this is what I need to do. So that by the time I actually got to sleep, putting my head down, I would just pass out. 3 hours later, I'd have to wake up to get ready again. So you just don't have too much time to be thinking.
So you don't even have time to think, okay, here's how I stay grounded in this.
I would meditate. I like meditate a lot. So like when I'm at home, I meditate like 2 hours a day, like 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night. But there you don't have time. So in the mornings, I would get at least like 30 minutes of it in just to like clear my head, make sure I was like in a good mental spot. But it took away a lot. Like halfway through the game, I started like giving up on like doing my makeup and my hair as well. Like you have to like give up some things.
I guess that's the other thing. It was the first time I was on his show where I'm like, oh, I have to like do my hair and makeup. I'm like, this is weird.
I'm so jealous of the men. They just wake up, put on a pair of pants.
I know.
I heard, I don't know how accurate this is, but Phaedra on the US, like she had her makeup team there doing it all for her. I'm like, oh, you're so lucky.
I know. I'm so jealous of the people who are on the American one.
They're like real celebrities, so I get it.
They're not like us.
No, they're not.
When you were on the podcast last, we talked a lot about the toll that Big Brother Canada 5 took on your mental health. So did you do anything to prepare for your potential mental health effects this time around?
I didn't do anything to prepare. I just felt like Big Brother Canada 5, when I went into it, I just wasn't in a good spot mentally. Whereas this one, I'm like in a really good spot, like mentally, in life. I felt good going into it. I have learned to meditate since Big Brother, so that really helps me with that. And this show, it's not as mentally taxing as like Big Brother is. And the crew, like really, they take care of you so well on this show. So afterwards, for a couple of weeks, I would wake up in the middle of the night. This is crazy. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, be like, oh my God, okay, this person thinks I'm a traitor. So tomorrow I need to do this and this and this. And then I'd pass out. But that was for like a couple of weeks. I didn't feel it was like it had mentally like affected me or anything. It was just like kind of like easing out of the game. So for this show, if anyone's like nervous about doing it, do it. Because I think it's okay. The crew takes care of you. It's a quick show. It doesn't affect you like that.
From the people I've talked to who have lasted more than 3 hours on the show, they're like, it's stressful in the moment. Roundtables and stuff are stressful, but then it kind of goes away really quickly again because it's so short. It's just like fun and silly and fast. It's like so ridiculous. Everything about it, I don't know, just like so murder mystery ridiculous. Like it's just a fun, silly time.
Yeah, like you really feel like when you're there, you do get very immersed, but you do realize you're on a show all the time. Like that's why I love when Karine shows up in her outfits.
Oh my God.
Like people are like, oh, it's so ridiculous. But I'm like, no, it really snaps you into like being like, oh, this is just a fun game that you're playing. When she shows up with these ridiculous outfits, she has this persona that like brings you into this game mode. Whereas like Big Brother, you don't see anyone in there. So that does become your life. That becomes your reality.
Okay, tell me about what you thought of Karine and her style, because I was so impressed with Karine in the minute that I met her. Also, she scared the shit out of me. Like compared to Jeff Probst, Karine is so intimidating. But in real, like when she's not in Traitors mode, she's the sweetest, nicest person ever. But in the manner, I found her so scary. What did you think of her and her style?
Oh, immediately terrified. The first time I met her was when you like sit down, you're like, oh, I want to be a traitor or a faithful. I couldn't even speak. I couldn't even look at her in the eyes. I'm like, you would be such a good cult leader. I would follow you. I would do anything you tell me to do. But she's the part that like really snaps you into the game, like her mannerisms, the way she acts, the persona she puts on. And then the first time I saw her out of that was like when we finished rapping, I had won and she's like congratulating me. I'm like, wait, is this you?
I know. She honestly plays it so well. And you're right. She's a big part of why it all feels so real. And she really turned up her fashion for season 2. I love all the risks that she took.
It's very like editorial. I think her stylists, they do the styling for like fashion magazines and stuff. So like it's something you would see on a cover of a magazine. And I love it.
Oh my gosh. She's honestly so good. She kills it, pun intended, at what she does in the manor. Speaking of style, I know that style was part of your strategy. So can you share more about that?
Yeah, I'm a personal stylist. So I know like fashion really affects how people view you. It's the uniform you put on every day. Even if you don't mean to, if someone's just putting on like a hoodie, you're still telling the world something about yourself. And how many times when you're wearing a really good outfit, you just feel good about yourself, you know, the way people perceive you, the way you perceive yourself. So I knew that would be really important in a game where I'm trying to play specific roles. I had different sets of outfits that I took in for different strategies. For the one I went with, I was like, I really wanted to kind of blend into the background. I wanted to be seen as like very naive, very innocent. So I didn't take any big, bold, bright colors or anything, which works because the show's like, you know, fall. I took in like a lot of lace, a lot of hair bows. I had like clip-on bows because like if I was doing a different strategy, I would just take off the bows and wear something else. But like I had bows that could clip into my hair or onto my clothes or onto my shoe. I definitely wanted to avoid like wearing red or like anything super structured on the show. I had a few outfits for different strategies that literally have spikes on them.
Oh my God. Wait, I need to see you come back in another universe where we get to see a different page of your strategy and you're wearing your spiky outfits.
The spikes, yeah. Maybe one day, we'll see.
But it is so true. If anybody listening is going to be on a reality show, how you dress is so important.
I do think now, though, for next season, I don't think anyone should wear bows because I think you might get targeted of legal.
You have to write your own notebook. You can't take Neda's strategy for this one.
If you're getting cast for a show, maybe I'll create like a package for on my website where we can strategize together outfits for you.
Oh, I love that. And you'll write like, don't worry, I'll sign the NDA. Imagine for season 3, all of the women and everybody with long hair, they show up with bows.
I just sabotage everyone. I'm like, just wear a bow, you'll be fine, you'll kill it.
Yeah, they're all just wearing cream and bows and lace.
That'll be really funny. I think if you're watching this, you're on next season, just do it. All the men's do.
I honestly loved all of your looks on the show. It was so nice to see like your curated looks for your fall manner.
Honestly, I started stressing out halfway through because I started running out of bows. I ran out of my lace. I ran out of bows. There was one outfit I had been saving, like the white dress that I wore at Kira's banishment, because I'm like, if there's ever a time I really need to speak up at the table, I need to save this dress for then. But I was panicking because I had brought in only one suitcase, but I had different sets of outfits in that one suitcase. So I'm like, oh my God, I should have brought more.
Oh my God, I brought so many clothes. And even only being there one day, seeing how many outfits you go through, I was like, I didn't bring enough clothes. I was low-key okay that I got eliminated early because I'm like, I don't think I brought enough clothes.
I definitely didn't bring enough for like the challenges and stuff because I just forget that the challenges even exist, to be honest. I don't think I even own a pair of running shoes. I don't own any active stuff. So I was wearing my pajamas, the challenges, because I'm like, I just don't own any active stuff.
That's so funny. I know. I loved the other seasons where you wear those like red jumpsuits. I think we would have all looked cute in little red jumpsuits.
Very cute.
I had Trana on my show a few months ago. I love Trana. If anyone is a Trana fan, make sure you go back and listen to my interview with her because we talked about her time on Celebrity Big Brother in Quebec. Trana and you seemed to build a really good relationship, and she seemed like she was in good spirits after you won, and she seemed like she was fine with her betrayal. Can you tell me a bit more about the relationships you have with her and why you think she was okay with the outcome of the show, even though she was so wrong the whole time?
Trina and I, it was literally the first day before anyone even knew you're faithful or you're a traitor. We made eye contact. Instant best friends.
I love her.
We
oh
were
my God.
so close from like day one. Like obviously we both had other people we were working with. And when Melinda left, I had nothing to do with Melinda leaving, but when Melinda left, I was like, this is actually really good for my game because now I think I'm fully with Trana. And it was such a genuine friendship that it helped both of us. I don't think either one of us would have gotten to the end without the other person. She really protected me as a faithful. I really protected her as a traitor. It was really hard to like do it with her though, to like have to backstab her in the end. If it was anyone else, I think it would have been a little bit easier. But again, I don't think I would have been able to go to the end with anyone else. I think she's just like a very good humored person. Like, I don't think she's a bitter person at all. I think she really takes everything as kind of like, oh, well, this is how it's meant to be. And I'm very grateful for it because I think maybe my experience would be tainted a little bit if I ended it with someone who was now like being kind of mean about it. And still to this day, she's like my closest person from the game.
I loved her so much. And even when I talked to her a few months ago, she talked about how Big Brother, it really pushed her out of her comfort zone. It helped her to break down her walls. And I think that having gone through that experience, it must have helped her to realize, okay, none of this is really that serious. It's just fun, but the friendship is what's real.
It is. And what really sucked is she was very open about her Big Brother experience. And the reason she lost that was basically the same thing that happened to her on the Traitors. There was a girl that she trusted on there. She was friends, and then she kind of got backstabbed by that girl. So as she's telling me this and the game's still going, I'm like, oh my God, I'm an awful person. I'm literally doing the same thing to her that already happened. I love you so much, Trina. I honestly don't think our season would be as epic if Trina wasn't on there. Like her confessionals, everything she was saying, and like she's really portrayed as being like loud and wrong. But the things that she would say at the round table is stuff that everyone was saying all day long. Trina was just the funniest and the loudest about it. So I think she gets like seen a lot more and the blame gets put on her more. But everyone was saying those things. It wasn't just Trina.
I think that part of what makes Trina lovable, it's like she has so much conviction in what she's saying and then so much self-awareness after the fact about being wrong and doesn't take herself too seriously at all and like sees the humor in being wrong. And I think it's like totally fine to like show up at those things and be so loud and wrong as long as you see it's just a game. And I think that that's part of why we all loved Trina so much.
Yeah, like she definitely owns it.
Oh my gosh, I love her. Make sure everybody, you go and check out the Trina interview. And the other thing I wanted to ask, so a big difference between your time on Traitors versus your time on Big Brother is when you did Big Brother, it was like you were filming the show as the show is being aired. So by the time you leave the house, everybody already knows what had happened. This time, now you have to keep this big secret. Not only were you on the Traitors, you knew you were the winner of the Traitors, and then you had to wait for the show to come out and then wait those few months as the show was airing before you could really say anything. And that whole time, you're probably just watching the way that the audience is reacting. What was it like this time around having that experience, and how did it compare to the Big Brother experience?
No, it's hard. It's really hard because I'm so used to you come out, you can watch everything right away. You can binge it. You know what people are thinking. You know what was shown or wasn't shown. This was such a waiting period that like it felt like the show just didn't happen. I did the show immediately. I go back to France. I wasn't spending time in Paris. I had gone to this like art retreat / cult in the South. I mean, no one was there. So I'm like in nature, which already I'm not that great with nature, but I'm like in nature in this haunted, like big house by myself. I'm like, what just happened? Did I just do the Traitors? Like, what is happening right now? It never sunk in. And then when the show started airing, still because we're waiting for the finale, I feel like even now that people are like, how does it feel to win? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. It doesn't feel like it happened. It doesn't feel like I won. It doesn't feel like I did the show. It was really nice going back to Toronto for a finale and finally seeing like how our cast came to watch. You were there.
Yes.
Finally how our cast got together to like watch. That felt a bit more like, oh, this experience was real. I didn't just make it up in my head. But yeah, it's weird. I feel like Big Brother, you have more time for it to like really sink in. Especially if you go to jury, you really have time to like process everything. But this is like, you're in, you're out. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's such a surreal thing. Did you tell your mom or anything that you had won?
I mean, yeah, I'm sorry I did.
Oh my God.
I don't know what a lot to, but like,
she kept the secret.
Who's she going to tell?
Exactly. Right after I won. So I think the day after the finale aired, like when I did my press, all the questions were, how has this changed your life? And I was like, it's like the same, like, I don't know. It's like so quick. So I don't want to ask you how the Traitors has changed your life because I know that it's sinking in, but let's say between the last time we saw you on reality TV, Big Brother Canada 5, versus the Traitors, what do you think the biggest change in you was?
Girl, I don't know. I mean, like, I didn't win $1 million, you know, like that's life-changing. That maybe in Toronto you can buy like a 1-bedroom apartment for.
Maybe.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like it was healing in the way that like I really was afraid to do reality TV again. I had kind of stopped watching reality TV for a while too after Big Brother, and like this really brought back my love of watching reality TV. So I'm very grateful for that. It was definitely healing in that way. And it was healing to like be with a cast that like you really love and like a crew you really love. So yeah, it was definitely healing. Like me and Lori talked a lot about how like we were going into this for like a healing experience, and it definitely was that.
Yeah, I remember Kevin and I on the first day, we were like, okay, why are you really here? We have won shows. Why are we here? And we were both like, I think there's a part of us that needs to heal. And then we got that.
Yeah, thanks, Traitors. It was like a nice little therapy session.
I know. It's like, I know this is supposed to be this murderous show, but all of us reality TV people left feeling a lot better. So thank you.
I honestly don't think anyone who's done reality TV, even her Gail had done reality TV, and she said the same thing, that this was really healing for her. So it's such a weird, like, common threat that we all have.
I know that's the way they can get more reality TV stars for season 3. It's like, hey, everyone.
Can't record therapy? Come do Traitors.
Yeah. So you were on reality TV for the first time 10 years ago, which is hard to believe. I remember being a fan of yours. Like, I loved watching you on season 2. So it's wild now that we like hang out. Do you see your Traitors win as kind of like your redemption for your time on Big Brother?
A little bit. That's a good question. A little bit, yeah. I mean, like, to me, just because I had lost twice and I, like, especially the first time I had prepared so much and it didn't go as planned, I guess you could say that. It's just, there's such different games. There's such different games. But yeah, no, it just feels good to have, I keep saying it, but good to have finally won something.
Yeah. Do you think that it was more important to have that redemption for yourself? Or do you also see this as a redemption for all of the fans and for all of the people who talked shit about you after your second time on Big Brother?
It's not the people that talk shit. I think it was the people who were supporting me and I really let them down. So I'm happy. I didn't even know there were so many people that were going to be excited about my win because they were so let down from Big Brother. So I'm happy with the outpouring of love from both fans. But I feel like for them, it's really nice as much as it is for me. I think we all suffered through Big Brother together.
Oh my gosh, Neda, what I love about you is you are so iconic and so loved, and you have no idea. You just really have no idea how much people truly like love and admire you and how much people have been rooting for you, myself included, all of these years.
Erika, it's because you were not in my DMs. You should have seen my DMs after Big Brother Canada 5. I was like, oh, shit.
I can only imagine, like, I know you had a rough go on Big Brother Canada 5.
You're like a boot on stage.
Oh my God.
Me and 3 other people from the US, 2 of which were racist.
Oh my gosh. So now this is a redemption then, if that's the case.
Yeah, let's look through as a redemption. We're good.
Okay, then do you have advice for anybody who might have tried something once, maybe twice before, and they're afraid of trying for the third time, or they think that they don't want to try something again?
I mean, you gotta listen to yourself. If you feel like you really are not ready to go and do it, when the season 5 happened, I did not feel like I should be doing it, but I just wanted to because I didn't want to say no to the experience. But this one, like, even though I was a little iffy on it just because of what had happened in the past, I did feel like I was in a really, really good spot. So you gotta listen to yourself. If your brain's telling you no, just don't do it. But if you feel like you're in a good spot, then do it.
Do you feel like you're in a good spot now?
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm in the same spot as when I went into Traitors is coming out.
Okay, that's good. I feel like that shows that you're ready for it, because I know that when we talked before for Big Brother, that was like the be all and end all for you. You had Big Brother like on a pedestal. You needed to win because that was the show that helped you learn Canadian culture and that you watched since you were a kid. So it was like such high stakes. But then now it's like you winning the Traitors, you feel like you're the same as the person before you even entered the manor. So I think that showed that like you didn't rely on the Traitors to validate you or anything.
No, I mean, it was definitely amazing to feel the validated, but no, I wasn't going into it for that. I don't know what I went in. I just went in because I really loved the game. Like, the episodes were so fun to watch. I'm like, this would be such a fun game to play. I'm so down to, like, you know those Traitors games that people put on, but it's not like filmed, it's just like friends doing it?
Like playing Mafia?
Wait, is Mafia the same thing as like Amongst Us?
Yeah.
But like, do you like rent out? Because there's people that literally will go and rent out a house for a weekend, like play it.
I've never did that. I would play Mafia a lot. Like I had a group of friends, we played Mafia all of the time. So that's why I was like, oh, I could play Traitors because it's the same as Mafia. But yeah, no, you totally should. I'm sure that the fans who organize that would love for you to be part of their games.
I'd love to do that.
Oh my gosh, it seems like you're so back in terms of reality TV. Like since the last time I talked to you, you were like so back and so with it. You mentioned earlier that you had talked to Gail and you were both saying that you wanted to heal something. So what is it you wanted to heal? And do you think it healed?
Yeah, no, I think it was just like the kind of being a little afraid of reality TV. Like one was not being able to even like enjoy watching it anymore and then just not wanting to do it. So I think on both fronts, we're good.
Oh, I'm so proud of you. So I asked you this last time. And
I'm going to say real again.
Okay. Okay. So you know what I'm going to ask you then.
Yeah, but just watch me go on something else. But no, I think at this point, wait, I'll let you ask.
Okay. Do you see yourself doing reality TV again?
No.
Is that a
No,
lie?
especially now. No, in my head, truly, I think it's a no, because it doesn't make sense to go as a winner and do, you know.
I know. Then you're going to get murdered first. Take it from me.
No, exactly. I feel like once you win, I think I just need to, especially after 3 shows, like just end it on a high. There isn't anything else out there that like I'm like, oh, I would love to do that either. The only show that I would want to do, but I am ineligible for, is Big Brother UK.
Oh my
I
God.
love that version so much. That's been the one reality show I've still been watching, even like through everything, because it's so different. It's not really that much like strategy. You're just kind of chilling in a house. But I'm not British, so I could never.
When we talked last time, the Traitors wasn't really a thing. Like, how would we have known we were going to do another show?
True.
At the time, who would have known the next time we talked, you would be a winner and I would be a loser?
You're still a bigger winner than me. I think you're still, what's the math? 900 something thousand dollars.
Thank you. I mean, listen, I know your mom is going to love your prize money for her retirement, so that's what matters.
Very happy.
Neda, I am, number one, so happy you did my podcast the first time around, and I am so happy to talk to you again. And honestly, even I know that some people are just going to be listening to this, but even seeing you right now, you just seem like you're in such different spirits. You seem like so much lighter. You seem like you've grown so much. So I'm very proud of you. As like a fan and a friend, I am so proud of you.
Money can do that, you know?
If people want to keep up with you and follow you, where can they do that?
Honestly, I never really post on social, so whatever. I do personal styling. It's all digitally done, so you can go to the-look.ca. And yeah, I do personal shopping for people. I help them with their vacation outfits, with their work outfits, whatever you need. If you're going on a reality TV show, I can help you.
There you go. That's the thing. If you want to make sure you look non-threatening enough, hit up Neda.
Or threatening.
That's true. It's like, who knows, on another page of the book, you would have wanted to look threatening.
Yeah. Okay. But like Lauren, she looked very threatening and it helped her get very far. If you look at her outfits, she's wearing like a lot of reds, a lot of like pantsuits, like business attire. We're like, oh, she's like a powerful lawyer. And that really did help her get far. So it just depends where you're fraying.
That is so true. Well, who knows? I know you said we won't see you again, but maybe we'll see you again on another show and we can see your spiky red outfits. Neda, thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Thanks, Erika.
Thank you so much, Neda, for being on my show twice. And if you know any reality TV fans, make sure you share this episode with them. Now, I love to end each episode by answering a listener question. And a question someone recently asked me was, what are you doing for the holidays? Well, for one, I am taking a little break from the podcast. So this is actually the last podcast of the year. So the podcast is going to take a bit of a break. I'll be back in the new year, don't you worry. But I'm going to be doing some traveling. So I actually have a big hiking trip coming up. I'm going to Chile. I'm going to hike Patagonia. This is a trip that I have been looking forward to for a long time. So fun fact, back in 2018, one of my closest friends from high school came to my apartment and helped me make my Survivor audition tape. And I remember at the time, just again, knowing I was just making the tape, I was going to send it in. Who knows what's going to happen? And I remember saying to my friend, hey, if I get on Survivor and I win, I'm going to pay your student loans. Lo and behold, look what happens a few years later. Now, this friend insisted that I cannot pay their student loans off. They were just so happy to help me out and to help me make a dream come true. And I will always be grateful. But instead, I said, okay, you love hiking. I love hiking. We both have always wanted to go to Patagonia. Let's go on a trip. So that's why I'm going on this trip, to celebrate this friendship, to say thank you to this friend, and of course, to get back into hiking and adventure travel, which is one of my favorite passions. And I actually haven't been on a big hiking trip since before the pandemic. So I've actually been working on training to be able to do multi-day hikes again. It's been so much fun preparing. I definitely want to figure out my outfits and everything for the trip to make sure that when I am hiking, I am still looking good. So make sure you follow me on Instagram as I share more about the trip. If you don't already follow me, my personal Instagram is Erika_Cas. But yes, I will be taking some time off from the podcast to go on this trip. And then you can expect to see me and the podcast back again in the new year. But I have to say, thank you so much for all of the time you spent with me this year listening to this podcast. It means so much to me that people are willing to tune in and spend some time with me every week. I hope that this podcast has brought some brightness and some inspiration into your life. If you have any ideas for guests you want to see, any topics you want to talk about, make sure you let me know. And make sure you follow the podcast on Instagram, YouTube, and on TikTok. It is at Happy to See Me Pod. And you can leave me a comment with any requests you have for the new year. And if you haven't already, I would love if you could subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It would be the most amazing holiday gift for me. You can subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and that really helps new people to find the show. So thank you so much for spending the year with me. I hope you all have a safe and happy holiday. I hope all of your wishes come true for the holiday season, and I will be happy to see you in a few weeks.